Deleted section 1977 December 5. Good evening. Now, you use suggestion very well. Everyone does. People use words somewhat in a way that you might use string images. One word carries many meanings, and no matter how spontaneously it seems you speak, even the most mundane remark is carefully chosen, so that it serves as the spoken symbol for many unspoken ones. Animals not only enjoy the sounds that they make, they are to some extent enchanted by them. The animal's interior world is silent. The sound of an animal's hoof upon the ground fills it with a sense of power and affirmation. The cat's meow is as enchanting to the cat as to its owner. Meaningful sounds that communicate feeling. These are enjoyed by all such species. Man's language and the sound of the words brings the greatest sense of accomplishment, biologically and psychically. The infant's discovery that it can communicate in such a way is indeed magical to it. No matter how wasteful with words a person might seem to be, each one contains an amazing economy, and is chosen precisely because it is a perfect carrier for certain intents or feelings that are all organized by that word. There are many obvious simple examples, such as the word home, which can automatically organize psychic, emotional, geographical, natural, and time information. In your daily lives, then you use words so easily that you often overlook their power. You do not understand their implications or the great inner organization that is behind the most simple utterance. Ralph noted the telephone began to ring. She said, "Do as you wish." Ralph said, "Maybe it'll stop," I said. She said, "Now you use words and their suggestive elements to reinforce and communicate your own purposes, beliefs, and intents. There are all kinds of verbal and body signs that tell you which words are to be attended to more than others, so that the quality of the words is strengthened or qualified. In a family, certain phrases are spoken over and over again through the ears. The power of those communications rests upon the same kind of symbolism as string images, in which each image is actually tightly organized. You both have had this kind of communication through the ears. I am simply stating a few examples. Years ago, when walking down the street with Rupert, he exuberantly ahead of you, you often said, "Slow down." A simple remark, yet it did contain indeed, at the time, sexual, social, and work implications, and it was carefully chosen. It meant, "Don't be so unconventional in public." It meant, "Don't be ahead of me sexually." Further meaning, "Don't want sex when we are involved in other issues." At that time, long past, you were worried and somewhat jealous of Rupert's work progress. You both knew what that remark meant. That is an example of the kind of remark that acts as potent suggestion on many levels. Nothing would make Rupert comply, of course, to the suggestion unless it met with his own acceptance because of his own fears. Now look at another remark, made far more often. "You must use your abilities. I know you are highly gifted." That meant you are highly gifted as a writer. Rupert did not have to follow that suggestion either, but it also fitted it with his intents. He had his reasons for following it. The most careless remark in any situation is not careless. That is the nature of communication. Both of you use suggestion individually and together to suit your purposes and your beliefs. You yourself, had you the time and the inclination, could trace such issues as they operated in any area through the years. You felt Rupert's psychic abilities, particularly in the beginning, so extraordinary. Once you accepted them, that you each felt they must be protected. not only from himself until you understood the abilities, but partly from anyone who might scoff, ridicule, or attack. You felt in any case to some extent that those with any creative abilities had to so protect themselves. Your daily conversation over the years has carried a steady string of suggestions in which your time must be protected almost at any cost. You have tempered many of those ideas. Suggestion has served you both well in many ways. Years ago, you learned how potent suggestion could be when Ruber used hypnosis with you, and you promptly dropped it. You did not use it with Ruber, nor did Ruber make any serious attempt to use it himself. You tried on a roll for size, and did not like the fit. Moreover, Ruber would simply not go to work, and lose writing time to support you so you could paint. You did not exactly change rules, you modified them. It would be Ruber who would stay home. He would accept the financial burden gladly if he could combine it with his writing, and in return you would do much of the household chores. You would have financial security at least so that you could paint without money worries. You would have a kind of isolation from the world. You did not like galleries, nor the give and take with the world. You wanted a situation where you could each write and paint relatively undisturbed. Ruber's relative fame almost upset the apple cart, so further measures were taken by both of you. I want it understood that I am using you both as examples here, for such conditions operate in any situation. You began to accept more physical responsibility for the house, and Ruber that you. In a manner of speaking, you encouraged him to become more dependent in that way, while encouraging him to use his mental and psychic abilities. He went along, you see, for it suited his purposes also. As you learned, you went through periods where you tried out alterations. Sometimes you did this together, but, as explained some time ago, one or the other would cut the affair short because you were not jointly ready. The suggestions you were each using were invisible to you, while in your creative lives, suggestion was quite apparent. Many people have such invisible areas because it suits their purposes. Any attempts on Ruber's part to help more in the kitchen or wherever will, for example, now take time. In that you could perform the same chore far quicker, so you will run up against your old beliefs about the value and the use of time. The exercise this evening and its results gave you a small preliminary example of the potency of suggestion when you decide to use it jointly for such a purpose. The actual words you use again, no matter how spontaneously chosen, have meanings on many levels and speak of your own intent, Joseph, as much as Ruber's. Before, you see, when I brought up such issues, you would become defensive, thinking, must I watch every word I speak? Or how can suggestion be that important? Ruber would react the same. Yet in those areas in which you are so proficient, such issues would never arise. I do not need to tell you, not to tell Ruber that he is an untalented dumb axe. I do not need to tell Ruber not to tell you that you are an untalented painter. Such things do not enter your heads. You do not have to watch yourselves every moment, so that you do not give negative suggestions in those areas. Ruber constantly tells himself he cannot work properly. It is reasonable for him to say that now. He is not working properly. The ability to work properly is his, however. He can work properly. He has hypnotized himself into believing that he cannot. You have helped reinforce that suggestion, for reasons that should now be obvious. Now, you take a person gifted as a writer and constantly apply the suggestion that to the contrary the person cannot write. That person will soon stop his efforts. He will do no writing at all after a while. He may write his name on a check, or scrawl an inadequate letter to a relative, and his very handwriting might even deteriorate. The writing ability is still there, though his performance is as impeded as Rupert's is in his walking. When you were discussing the letter from the young English gentleman, Rupert was impressed with his progress. You said, but he was walking, meaning that Rupert was not. Rupert is walking as poorly as our hypothetical writer is writing. His walking is impaired, but the ability is there. The word is a word of suggestion, for suggestion implies directions, communication to act or not act in certain directions. No one accepts suggestion against their will, but few people know their will. You are so used to believe that there is a conscious mind that you call the will, and an unconscious mind whose intents are unknown to you, and simply not yours, that you, meaning people in general, are unaware of your own will, your own desire, your own intent. You are unaware as a people of your entire consciousness, and I am speaking now in pragmatic terms, not in esoteric ones. An exercise such as this evening's simply allows you to unify your will with your body and bridge the gap of separation artificially formed. To quiet the panic, to unify the so-called conscious and unconscious, and such exercises will release energy, not only for Rupert's recovery, but will ultimately receive your psychic lives. You are taking conscious control of the magic of words in order to use them for new intents, and to dramatically change the old ones. Unknowingly, you went through the same process when you initiated what you are now trying to get out of. There were no formal sessions, but there were impediments, for at that time you were momentarily convinced of your own physical difficulties. You had to suggest yourself out of those, with Rupert's help. You had to convince yourself that you were not only capable, but physically capable enough to take over for Rupert, and this at a time when he was carrying the heavy packages up the stairs. He was not even making any money at his writing. In the face of that, you became the physical agile one. All of this was accomplished through suggestion. In a variety of ways, Rupert was rewarded for mental and psychic spontaneity. You were rewarded for physical agility and for your painting. He was discouraged from physical activity and social spontaneity. This served for many years. Rupert's strong constitution is amazing. Even his overall moods remained exuberant for years. There was no need to change for some time. Your growing understanding, however, began to threaten that framework, for you saw that life itself was an art. In a way, much of what I told you threatened your framework, for my ideas of spontaneity clashed with your beliefs and the need for discipline above all. Your beliefs about time would prevent taking time out of relaxation exercises or for suggestion. As of this evening, you knew how well hypnosis worked, though the term is meaningless. I would simply like you both, without stressing the issue overduly, to be more aware of your conversations, without monitoring them. See how you use suggestion naturally to reinforce and encourage your creative activities, and how you use it otherwise. You mean what you say. Your words are literal and symbolic at the same time. It hurts Rupert to walk. He is convinced of it. He has told himself that so often. One man who wrote you said he got sick to his stomach when he tried to write, and Rupert could see easily the suggestion operating. Try reversing the suggestion. Can you write a little longer? Rob said yes. Say said about Rupert's predictions. Rob noted about yesterday's mail. Very successful. Say said, many people feel such a performance impossible. You know everything there is to know about those issues that concern your lives. That reviewer, Rob noted, don't know new love. Say said has connections with Rupert in framework too, because of Rupert's old intents when he published in the male magazines. He was relaxed this morning to some extent, allowing his abilities to flow, and any psychic experiments he tries now will be beneficial from many standpoints. Hypnosis experiments, again, will free your energy flows, both of you. Suggestion operates as an organizer, bringing you from framework to exactly what you want. Your purposes have changed. You now want Rupert to be flexible physically, to be physically agile. You must alter the suggestion, then, that Rupert primarily and you secondarily have been giving. I will have more to say about suggestion Saturday, for it applies in other than verbal terms, of course. Objects have suggestive value. For example, I would like one of your badminton rackets and a birdie around inside for its suggestive value. You need not touch the items for now. I will have some remarks Saturday also about the psychic horror story in the Aquarium, stressing the power of suggestion in another area, and obsession and a hearty suggestive good evening. Ross said, thank you very much, Seth.